It's time to speak the world of politics with our party scoopers to try to put a smile on your face when we're talking about some bizarre things. And I know
Toughest
there's
job in
a lot of
politics,
people
Lou.
were
I didn't
mad.
sign up for putting a smile on their face.
A lot of people were mad last night, Jackie, because Bull was supposed to be on. It was preempted by this investigation and an extensive report. Saw a bunch of tweets about that saying
Seriously?
it's Bull that Bull's not on.
All right,
So, okay.
I'm out of the loop, I guess. So let's find
I don't
out
know
what's
what Bull
happening.
is.
Bull's a TV show.
You don't know
Well, I
Bull?
think-
Okay, you got to check it out. It's actually pretty good.
All right, I'll
Jeff
watch
Lake,
it.
Craig
I'll watch
Robinson joining us. Okay, so everyone's talking Mueller.
The report?
Mueller.
Yeah.
Mueller.
All right, and the report
How do you
basically-
say his name?
Mueller.
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 It is Mueller.
Mueller.
I think it's
Mueller. It sounds like a
Mueller.
movie.
Mueller?
Okay.
I don't know. That's
Anyway,
the big topic of discussion. How do you say his name?
the report says nothing here or not enough to
We
say.
can't impeach him.
Well, I mean,
Right?
it's kind of like our judicial process in America. There's not enough to charge. There's no new indictments coming that we haven't already heard about. So, you know, I think what everyone was looking for in this report is, will Trump be indicted? Will a Trump family member be indicted? Will someone really close to him in this administration be indicted? And none of that occurred. Most of the indictments are people that were involved with the Trump campaign, but being charged with crimes that they committed long before the campaign started.
Is this what
Whoa,
Barr?
not before the campaign started.
Well, I mean,
Before
look,
the-
if you look at
before
the big one,
administration started.
who's the big guy going down? The guy.
Flynn, Manafort.
Well, Manafort. All of Manafort's
Cohen.
stuff has nothing to do with Trump. These guys lied under oath,
Well,
and
there are 10 people that worked on the campaign or worked for Donald Trump who have not just been indicted, but have pled guilty to numerous charges and are going to prison for decades.
But none of those charges are about the collusion with the Russian government. That this whole investigation spent $25 million and countless man hours investigating.
But they collected the $25 million back from Manafort as part of they didn't spend $25 million because they've collected money back from Manafort. So you can't go down
So it's
that
not the
road.
money thing?
Well,
They-
it's
No.
good we got Manafort on something that he did long before.
So they found
the
other
Trump
indictments
presidential campaign.
because of this, but not because of there was coercion with
Right.
the Russian government over the election of our
Well,
president.
but what Mueller's report did say was that the Russian government did want to influence the election. They did want to tip the scales for Donald Trump.
Right.
What this came short of is saying that Donald Trump participated in that.
Right. That there's not, look, they made offers, they made repeated offers to help, and the Trump campaign didn't bite.
Okay, now is this what Barr is telling us, or is
No,
this
no, no.
actually
That's
what's
the
in
Mueller
the report?
But the only thing we can see right now is the
Barr's
Attorney
summary.
General's summary.
Okay, and that's 4 pages?
Yeah.
Okay, so he summarized it. So $25 million, and you have 4 pages, of documents.
Look, I get it.
Is it the Cliff Note version,
look,
or-
I think there's a lot of this information. I think after spending all this time, it should be made public. You know, we should know what's in the report. It gets a little, there's a line though to be drawn. Is, do we want to go down this rabbit trail of exposing everything we looked into if there's not enough there to charge anyone with a crime? So are we just, again, is it just airing dirty laundry for the good of the Democrat Party so that they
to
can
be
win
clear,
elections?
it's not charging anyone with a crime, it's anyone new, right? There have been a lot of people charged with crimes. There have been a lot of people convicted. There are a lot of people going to jail. So we can't just brush over that
Just
fact.
dismiss it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what's your big message? Move on now that it's been released.
Look, I
and-
think look, we've spent 2 years going over this report, breaking news every night on cable news about, Trump's going to have to resign, Mike Pence is going to be president, go on and on and on. None of that even close happened. And so I think that it is the news media needs to move on. Donald Trump will also need to move on and not, bury himself and defending himself and vindicating himself that he's been cleared on
So
this.
did this report totally clear Trump of any wrongdoing?
I would say yes. Look, and I know that other people are going to say there's still stuff in this report that we're bothered by, right? But I think if there's nothing to indict him with, then he's cleared.
Okay.
Look, here's where I think the Democrats need to go at this point. This whole discussion about impeachment for the last year has been premature. And I think it's wrong-headed. I think that if you really want to embarrass Donald Trump, if you're a Democrat and you want to embarrass Donald Trump, you get more than 270 electoral votes in the fall of 2020, and you make him a one-term president. It will be the most humiliating thing personally to him and to his giant ego. That is how you really take care of Donald Trump. Don't worry about, Mueller has said there's nothing to charge him with on collusion. He said it's unclear on obstruction of justice. That could go forward, could not go forward. What is in the best interest of the country, I believe, at this point, is let's have a debate about where our tax policy should be. Let's have a debate about whether we should maintain these tariffs, which are killing the farm economy and killing businesses here in Iowa. Let's have a debate about these big issues. Let's have a debate about prescription drug prices. Let's figure out which way the country should go in 2020 and get focused on that right now. Trump has been really good at creating distractions and confusion. I think if the Democrats say we're not going to take the bait on the distractions anymore and let's really have a conversation about is the country going in the right direction and where are we going to go in the future, that is a discussion the Democrats can
And I'll
have.
add this. I think it's going to be difficult for the Democrats to get on a singular line of thought here because there are 25 or 30 presidential candidates that are all going to want attention. And how do you get attention? You say outlandish things about the president or whatever. And
You stand on tables.
You stand on tables and swing your arms around. I mean, I think it's going to be difficult for the Democrat Party, much like I thought it was difficult for the Republican Party when they were running against Obama, that everything this guy did was wrong and horrible for the country. And it's like it's better if you cast your vision for America, your own vision for America, instead of just disparaging the person who's sitting in the White House and what they're doing.
Well, and honestly, Hillary Clinton ran a campaign that basically said Donald Trump's a terrible person and says terrible things and isn't appropriate for the office, and that didn't work.
Right.
She didn't articulate where she wanted to take the country clearly enough. And Trump said he wanted to do 2 or 3 things. He wanted to build a wall, which he hasn't done. He wanted to fix the trade deals, which he's screwed up, and he wanted to repeal Obamacare, which he also didn't get done. So, like, the 3 things he campaigned on, he's failed at, and I think we just need to return to say, okay, this is what you campaigned on. You got nothing done with the Republican Congress for 2 years. Here's where we want to take the country.
But at the same time, though, Trump did say, these are the things I want to do, and that's what America grabbed a hold of, is, okay,
Yeah.
this is what he wanted to do, as opposed to bashing the opponent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although he did also kind of bash the opponent a little
Well, he bashed all of
Yeah,
them.
He
he
bashed
bashed all
everybody.
the appointments. So basically, what I'm hearing from this report that just came out, you're both saying, let's move on and focus towards 2020.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
There
there
it
you
is.
go.
That's the
Anything
bottom
here
line.
locally we need to keep an eye on?
Well, the legislature is in session, churning away. I think Craig and I were talking before, the one bill that might actually pass this week, which is kind of a big deal, is sports betting.
Still keeping our eye on that.
It's a big change
Okay.
in gambling laws in the state of Iowa. I think there's a real interest in sports betting in the state. There's an interest in generating the revenue.
We got the space all ready to go already. What are you talking
Well,
about?
they get a bunch of these-
They're ready in Altoona.
Altoon's ready to go. Just say when we can unlock the door.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so keep an eye on what's happening with politics. We do that every single Tuesday with our Party Scoopers. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us
Thanks.
this morning.
Thank you.
All right, it's 20 minutes.